Thank you. Hello, how's everybody doing? Good, good. This is what I think one of the most important parts of today. I'm a little biased, but we're talking about building your brand. And after you have secured your financing, you've scoped out the competition, you figured out that you have the best value for your customers, and you know it with all your heart, how do you get them to know it? How do you get them to understand what your value is? So that's what we're going to try to uncover today. My name is Jason Roberson. I am the owner of the Job 1923 Writers Group. I ghostwrite books for a living, writing memoirs and so forth. My background is in journalism. I used to write for the Dallas Morning News, Detroit Free Press, magazines all over the country, and also managing editor of the Dallas Business Journal. And then I pivoted, and now I write books. I'm also the mayor of Forney, Texas. So, all right, yes. You won't be cheering when you get stuck in traffic. I apologize for that, but we're doing our best. So now we're going to go down the line, and they're going to introduce themselves and kind of talk a little bit about their background. But I'm so excited. I read all of their bios, and you guys are in for a treat.
I'm Amy Wiley. We have two businesses. We're known for Wiley's Western, which is open downtown Kaufman, and the Rancher's Wife Boutique, which is probably the most notorious. The Rancher's Wife Boutique has just south of 600,000 followers, which is pretty crazy because we spent $0 on advertisement in 10 years. So that we just kind of took over. I have no business degree, no business background. We just kind of started marketing and seeing what worked for us and took on. And we opened Wiley's, which we've also spent $0 on advertisement. It's been open about 8 weeks, and we're rolling through that.
Hi all, I'm Liz Kline. I am principal at Eisenburg and Associates. We are a 50-plus-year-old creative agency based in Dallas. I haven't been there for 50 years, but according to LinkedIn, I have been there 26 years as of last week. We do corporate branding, marketing, digital. My background is actually finance. So I came into the creative world not as a designer, but as a finance person who does marketing. So.
My name is Courtney Heinisch. I actually am also a serial entrepreneur. I own several businesses. 77 Digital is what I am here for today. I also actually just sold my part in an HVAC and electric company. I do also have a crafting wholesale business as well as a keychain business for self-defense. My degree actually is in business management and marketing. And that's it.
Very cool. And Courtney, we're going to start with you. So
Okay.
Every small business, they know that they need to market themselves, but many don't know where to get started or how to, get the ball rolling. What tips do you have for small businesses when it comes to basically achieving the best bang for their buck? Now, everyone can't get away with no advertising at all, like a certain person to my but so what kind of advice would you have
When
to
you're-
get the best bang for your buck?
Absolutely. When you're just starting out a business, obviously not many people have money. People have a dream when they start a business. My biggest suggestion to anyone, join chambers. Get to know your city, get to know your community. Cindy Skinner back there raising her hands is probably one of the best people that I met when we started the HVAC company. She introduced us to so many people. She is the one who helped tremendously getting our name out there. Posting on social media. Don't just post what you have or what you're selling. Post yourself. Tell the people the story about you, because people buy from people. People don't buy your product. A million other people can sell your product. They want to buy from people they trust, people they know. So utilize social media and your community big time.
Great. I love that. People buy the story. You got to be
Yes.
able to tell the story. Liz.
So I'm going to go on a little soapbox because I know the session is about branding, marketing techniques, and social media. But first of all, what's a brand? And a brand isn't a product. A brand isn't a logo. It's not just a campaign. It's really what people say, feel, and talk about your company. So brand strategy is the first thing before you start getting into your website and your social media and, hey, let's get on Instagram or let's get on LinkedIn. It's also knowing your audience. The last panel talked a lot about market research, and while branding is supposed to be cool graphics and cool stories and headlines and whatever, knowing your audience, knowing your customers, knowing your industry, all of that comes about before you just get on social or do a website or a logo. So that's my branding soapbox.
Yeah. And can you piggyback on that? How have you perfected your brand?
Yes, to go what Cortney was saying, that I could not agree with more. We have more engagement when you tell your story, when people just like to see your everyday. It's the silliest things. We had a squirrel get in the store one time. That's crazy. But
People
I'm
love
like,
it.
well, let's video this. And it engaged. We had probably a 200% increase in engagement on a squirrel in the store. And then people came in, probably the next 100 orders. We're like, how'd you guys get squirrel out? It brought people in. People just like to be a part of it. I think when I look at things, or I'll go get a tire change and I'll talk to the guy at the tire shop and they'll have the coolest story. I'm like, you need to tell this story. This is what people want to hear. It's a comfort. I like to watch people film the inside of their stores, coffee shops, anything. I feel more attached to it. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect or Instagram worthy, whatever you think it needs to look like. They just want to know. They want to see inside where you're working. They want to see the hot mess. They want to be connected, because I don't know about y'all, but my back room is a hot mess. So people like seeing that you're normal.
You're a human.
Yeah, and that's about the most engagement, and that's probably the biggest tip I can give anybody is letting them see you, not just what you want them to see. Amazon looks perfect. I'm in the sales industry of products, so everything on Amazon is just so neatly done. They want to see where it came from, how you did it, the effort you put into getting one product out the door. They like to see the behind the scenes. Definitely.
And that promotes that authenticity.
And it shows them who you are. Going back to a brand, your brand is what you stand for, your character, what you believe in, where your family, where you're from. I'm not from even Texas, and people like to hear that. People from the north. My family's from Pennsylvania, so people like to see how every part of me became this brand in Kaufman, Texas. So I think it is super important telling your story.
Awesome. Liz, can you talk about how do you define your target customer? How do you find that target customer?
God, that's a broad thing, because some of you in the room are probably B2B, some of you are B2C. It's really a broad thing as to how to define your audience. So let's just say you're a plumbing company and you want to target homeowners in the top 10% or whatever. That's defining your industry and your customer. So it really varies from industry to industry, and whether you're B2B or B2C.
What is B2B, B2C?
Business to consumer or
Okay.
business to
All right.
business. So,
And then there's another one, B2G, business to government.
Oh.
true.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cortney, what would you say? How do you define your target customer? Any tips for small business owners?
Typically, actually, when I start with new customers for my marketing firm, that's one of the absolute very first things we go through. A lot of people don't actually know what their target demographic is. So we go through an entire variety of figuring out who your consumer is, and it's exactly what you said. It's very broad. It's going to be different for the HVAC and plumbing industry. I'm going to want homeowners, typically homeowners who are 25 and up. And it's mostly actually women who call over the men, so I want to target women specifically, which means I'm going to guide my ads towards women a little bit more. So it's all going to be very specific to what sort of company you're in.
And once you find that target customer, then you try to figure out, well, how can I best reach them?
Then we'll build a plan off that. Yes, absolutely.
Great. Amy, anything to comment on that? How did you find your target customer?
I guess that's when we started. Before I started, we actually have 6 different businesses. But why, when we brought it in, just as a general idea, just a concept, why does Kaufman need a Western store? Who's going to shop it? it just even before investing, like we found a building and we're like, okay, so why does it need to be here? Who's going to shop it? Just in that general, and then what the concept was of our branding. We wanted to bring something vintage in with a modern feel, things that everybody's wearing, but still have a classic touch. Not go too trendy, kind of keep it just like general old school Western. So with the Western store, that's what we geared to, that's like everybody day working, cows, down to people that are just going to a Cody Johnson concert. We wanted to kind of be a traditional Western store. So with that, I personally, I guess everybody's a little different. They probably know the numbers a lot better than me, but I just did who I was building the brand for, and then thought about everybody who could be in that bubble,
Right.
Yes.
So as a follow-up question, there are other options for buying Western wear. How do you stand out from the competition? What was that process like to make sure that you were different enough to attract the right customer?
So we brought it our concept was to take it back to the 90s. I think, which I'm a 90s, I was born in 1990, but we used we used to be able to. Nowadays, you go into a large boot barn. I'm sure they're making plenty of cash flow, but you can't talk to a sales. If you need a 38th length pant, and they do not have it, to get it custom ordered. But in the 90s, my dad went to Shepler's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you used to be able to custom order what you needed. They'll order one pair of pants from you, or they'll order if you need family pictures for your whole family and you want to match. So we went back to customer service. We don't even have a website yet, which is crazy, but we really wanted to be hands-on and have the supply for Kaufman, Texas. Whoever drove to Kaufman, whoever needed something, me and my husband worked that store 99% of the time, just because we wanted to be sure that everybody knows that we can order one shirt for you. So with that, it is a different, because the Western world has got so big, it's got so popular, Yellowstone came into flow, and it is so, I guess, more like a trendy thing. We wanted to become traditional and like drop the trendy and be there for people and order stuff and reshape hats for people and just really a service. So we want to add value, and that was the main thing, because there is a lot of Western, but how does it add value? How does it, as heirloom pieces that, things that you be like, I want to be the store that they've been ordering the same pants for 50 years from the same people, so we wanted it to go in a more, sustainable style.
Yeah, you knew your customer and you were trying to eliminate that pain point that they had. Liz, talk about the competition. How can you differentiate yourself from the competitors?
So just like the last panel talked about SWOT analysis, we always say, look at your competition, look at your peers, and your peers don't have to be within this region. You could end up looking at similar companies that you are, and looking at a peer group and seeing what they're doing in social, what they're doing on their website, what they're doing marketing, advertising across all channels, and not just look at what they're doing well, but what they're doing poorly. So we all know about the great Google reviews, Yelp reviews, and whatever. If you're looking at, say, a Western company and you're looking at your competitors, you're probably looking at reviews of those products in those stores. You're looking at the good and the bad, and then trying to not do what they're doing, but at the same point be clear, be authentic, and be consistent with your message. So.
Right. Cortney, anything to add on that? And I have a follow-up question that you're going to answer about websites. How to design the right website, making sure you don't spend too much.
Okay. I actually do have something to add on to that. Really big part of, making sure that we set ourselves apart, and I'm going to go back to the HVAC and electric company. We instilled our core values, and we brought those down to our employees to make sure that our employees were number one in customer service. That was what we are. We instilled give them the pickle. I don't know if any of you ever watched that video. If you were born in the 80s, you probably did, 70s maybe. But it was the theory of do one thing to go above and beyond in someone's home. So our technicians went in to fix a light, and it was a single mother who needed to put together a bunk bed but didn't know how. So he put together the bunk bed for her. just to help out. It's the do the thing that's going to set you apart, that's going to make people want to use you, that you're going to get those really great reviews on.
I love that. Do one thing extra.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. Customer service. So on to websites. I think that for small business owners, this is an area where you can really blow your budget quick.
Very.
If you've got the wrong site or you don't have a game plan. When it comes to websites, what best practices do you leverage in data analytics or search engine optimization? Start with you, Cortney, and then we'll just go down the line with Liz.
That's again going to be very, I'm going to use me for instance. My keychain business is actually for my daughter. She's 17. She actually wants to be a business owner and in marketing like her mother. So what I did is we started a self-defense keychain business for her. Right now I'm teaching her how to do the QuickBooks portion of it, how to build websites, how to market it, the fact that she's going to need to go out to little boutiques and say, hey, do you have any interest in selling these keychains? I'll sell them to you at wholesale. Learning to talk to people. The big part of that is we're building a website. Well, it's an e-commerce store. So what best platform do you use? Because it's going to cost you some money. Do you want a platform like Shopify where it's $35 a month and you can actually build the website yourself? Or do you want to pay someone $5,000 to $10,000 to build a website for you and then an additional $500 to $1,000 a month to manage it? So it's going to kind of vary depending. Shopify does have SEO built in that you can do it yourself. So I guess that's again going to be very industry based.
Liz.
And I guess first of all, website presence is really important. First thing you do when you're looking for a plumber, you type in plumber in Dallas and see what comes up, visit their sites. But you've got to have your objectives for your website. Is it to drive business? Is it really just to make you look like a solid company? So if you're B2B, you might not be selling keychains. You might just want to have a good presence so that people go, okay, yeah, I want to bank with you, or I want to do work with you. Do you want to, use your website for customer service? These days, with all the chatbot things, I can go onto a site and all of a sudden it pops up. Can I help you? Can I service you? Can I set an appointment? But it's really knowing what your website and also social objectives are. I mean, it also could be we're using our website for recruiting purposes. We want to retain and bring in new employees to come work for us. So clearly defining what the objectives on any of your social, whether it's your website or social channels, is really important.
And Amy, what's been your strategy behind your website?
Like Courtney was saying, I think it is $35. So we use Shopify against the point of sale. We started with $500. I think at the 7-year mark, we turned TRW into a multi-million-dollar business with self-finance. So it's been really just bare minimum on everything like that. And Shopify uses e-commerce. We do, in about a 30 to 60 day period of time, we're at a 98% sell-through rate. So really with our website, we just make sure we go on as a customer. I think that's the most important thing you can do with anything. It doesn't matter if it's tire shop, coffee shop, insurance, is walk in every day. I walk in after I open the whole store. I go outside. I walk in as a customer. That's how I look at Facebook. I Google myself all the time. I look at reviews. And going back to just a quick on the reviews, there's crazy reviews, and some are not even honest, but when people reply back to a review, and you get to tell your side, whether it's a fake review or somebody just put a random review, it shows me, because there is some people with 1,200 reviews, but they responded back to the people that said, oh, they stole $20 from me, and they responded back. You see their side story, immediately that bad review kind of panics people. But if you respond back as a business owner real professionally and tell your side, it kind of exits out the bad review, when you're looking at businesses. So I just look as a customer, because a lot of things, the links don't work, the phone doesn't work. I call our phone numbers all the time. I go to the website, I click the links, I call the phone numbers, I email myself just to make sure all the link works, because I think you lose a lot of people just by simple things like that, like a link not working or a phone number being the wrong one, or you not switching it out on every page. So yeah. So I'm a little unconventional that I have a very, very low budget, but yeah, I think the main thing is to look at it as a customer
Got
all
it.
the time.
Well, one thing that you do exceptionally well is social media. So that's our next topic. There are so many social media channels geared to so many different people, and it's like they're coming up with new names, and changing names. What channels do you recommend certain industries focus on?
I like Facebook. So me personally, Facebook, my clientele, the middle of it is 25 to 35. I'm not the 35s. I know everybody gets on Instagram and everything, but that's to look. Usually people on Instagram, they message us. So we have a Facebook group. So it's a private Facebook group, and this is not for every industry. Even the Western store doesn't have it, but for the boutique, it is. It's private, I guess you can say, but people are allowed to comment on that, anything, and respond. But what's so great about a Facebook group, every time you post in that Facebook group, most of the times people get alert for the settings. So if you post on your Facebook feed, they're not getting an alert. They're not going to say, Rancher's Wife just posted. But if you post in the Facebook group and they're part of the Facebook group, Rancher's Wife just posted in the TRW tribe. So we've got 25,000, and people don't stay in groups unless they're buying. So on that, our active members on 25,000 stays around 88%, which is really good for a group. But too, it's not force feeding anything. And it's finding those organic customers, and I think that is important. And just kind of letting your hair down on social media. And that's, a lot of things change. I used to kind of be more uptight with, it needs to look professional, and we're not showing a squirrel. But then I got this 19-year-old girl that started working for me in Canton, actually, and she's like, we need to do a TikTok dance. And I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to saw like a TikTok. And then when the first TikTok got 3 million views, I was like, okay, we can do some TikTok dances. Wow. Yeah. So, and it really has helped. We ship to all 50 states every year. So it's really broadened us out, because I'm like, why are we shipping to Oregon, Alaska, every military base in the general United States? And it's because TikTok and Instagram, so it's just really great. But as Facebook, I would say that's like our core area, because I think too it's really easy to talk to people and communicate with people on Facebook. And when people comment, the best thing, just as a little social media advice, is when they're comment, oh wow, I love that, thank you. It adds a comment, it adds an engagement, even though you're the one engaging, but it keeps it going. On TikTok, for example, I had a TikTok, it got to organically about 2 million views. Every time I would comment back 10 times, it would give me another 30,000 views. Wow. So it is very important to engage back. You just don't post something and just let it sit and you get all these comments. To comment back and to double your comments is very important.
And do you actually put money behind it, paid?
Zero.
Okay.
Never.
Liz, social media strategy.
I'm going to high five you for that one, actually.
I agree with the organic social media.
And zero paid.
And zero paid.
Yeah.
Some people do targeted and whatever. So again, it depends on what industry you're in. As an aside, I am an avid golfer. I'm obsessed with golf Twitter. So it is called something, golf Twitter. And there's a whole community of us. Now we're talking about this blue sky thing that we're not sure we like yet. But you choose an industry, and golf Twitter is huge. There's a huge amount of followers. We're friends, we talk, we sell each other golf course stuff and whatever. Yeah. But again, that was an industry that the platform is golf Twitter, as opposed to Facebook, which may, skew a little older these days, even though 1990. But again, it can really help you tell your story. It can be great for employee engagement. Say you're a big corporation and you want to have a photo contest for your employees and then feature the photos and the winning ones around the world and whatever, or you want to use it to increase your employee base. So Facebook can be great. I have to admit, I dabble in Instagram. I'm obsessed with Pinterest for just travel, vacations, and whatever. So again, it's not just me as a company, it's me as a person too. So you
Yeah.
Google yourself all the time. I do the same.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I think 150 people congratulated me on my 26th anniversary.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is a great B2B tool. It's awesome for recruiting. It gives you a big corporate presence, but as a small business, it might not be as important as Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So,
Yeah. I stay off of social media as an elected official, especially when people are stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cortney,
Yes.
with the different businesses that you've had, you have to have, I guess, a different social media strategy?
Yes,
Okay,
very much
can
so.
you talk about that? How do you, which social media vehicle is right for whatever industry you've been in?
Absolutely. So Facebook is the biggest utilizer for, let's say, the electric and HVAC business. TikTok is more geared towards the younger demographic. Don't get me wrong, my grandma's still on TikTok. But most of the people who are going to sit there and scroll or watch the lives are going to be your under 30, under 25. So I want homeowners for the electric and HVAC business. So I'm going to utilize Facebook. Facebook is typically over the age of 30. There is some over the age of 25. My daughter's on there. She just has an account for absolutely no reason. So I would use that. I also actually do use Instagram for the electric and HVAC business, but it's more geared towards the fun part of it. We actually do use TikTok for electric and HVAC. Our top video is actually about persimmons. If everyone in Texas knows, you can predict the weather with persimmons. I didn't know that. I also am not from here. I'm from up north. So that actually had, I think, over 500,000 likes on that video, and we had like 8 million views. But apart from that, it also helps build our team rapport. We do a lot of team building videos where we had our office girls who were not getting along do this ball. They had a big beach ball that they couldn't let touch the ground and had to come up with this big incorporated dance, and we posted that. That was a huge hit, but the best part about it was it created the rapport between those two girls, and they've been friends ever since.
What about LinkedIn? I haven't heard you guys talk. Is there any value in LinkedIn or?
there's a lot of value in LinkedIn.
Talk about
But a lot of it's for employee recruitment and
Yes.
retention. It's
Selling
It's-
yourself.
yeah, selling a corporation as a presence is good, but I'm going to go back to the video thing because somebody mentioned I go on YouTube all the time. I look in Google for YouTube videos. So as a small business, you might decide that your social media channel is generating content videos about your business on YouTube that people will then watch.
Shorts.
So
And it's the silliest thing. If you're a tire company, there's a lot of people that YouTube how to change a tire.
Yes.
And I will say it's probably me because you forget. And so I YouTube everything. I don't like just the simplest stuff. And you're like, well, I know how to change a tire and I can film it, put a banner up with your tire shop, have it linked, and then Facebook. And what happens, people like your Facebook, they might not need you right now. They might not need you ever, but if they ever go on Facebook and put tire shop near me, if they liked your page at any point in time, you're the first to pop up.
Wonderful.
the one thing I will say about LinkedIn, and we talk about, I think all of us like organic, unpaid social
Yes.
media. Even if you're paying for somebody to do the posting for you and you're not doing it all yourself, LinkedIn in particular, unless you're looking for recruiting and jobs, is a really clunky, hard to use paid advertising social media channel. So it's easier to do LinkedIn organically than through any of their paid stuff.
How do you know when it's time to pivot from your core message? Because you don't want to give up too soon if you've got a marketing message or campaign. But how do you know when it's time to, I guess, cut bait and make a change? It's a toss-up, whoever wants that one.
When my engagement's down, that's when I usually do that. And and I keep going back to social media. The social media is just linked to us to the website. If the store's down, our social media is down. If social media is up, the store is up. And it's a really crazy thing we do. But I call it overhyping because, I mean, just on Thanksgiving night, we opened in Kaufman for 3 hours, and we had over 750 orders roll through Kaufman in 3 hours. But every time before we opened, and we also opened Wiley's, I think we did about 120 orders there, the average order being higher. But I'm always think, oh my gosh, what if nobody shows up? So I market to that. I never stop marketing. Somebody's like, oh, I was like, I didn't know you have an event. They say, oh, I posted it. We posted it 3 weeks ago. That's too early. I do not know what I'm doing in 3 days. So it's, I think to keep pivoting is almost to be consistent at that. And it's even if you have the same event, not just completely tear down your event, just tear down and change the way you're presenting it. So it's anything, event, service, product. Sometimes you just have to completely flip it 180 and see what works. And I mean, anything out the wall that sticks, and then figure out, and then we have the things that stick that we can do every time. But there's a lot of things that we thought were going to be great winners, and we had to end up cutting them just because it's not the way people view, or it's not the thing that grab attention on, social media.
Got it. Courtney, and then Liz. How do you know when it's time to change your message? Should you?
I think
keep
you
going with
touched
it,
on
or-
social, so
Okay.
I'm going to go a little bit digital. Usually in digital, I give everything 90 days.
Okay.
So any plan or process or campaign that I'm creating, I'm going to give 90 days. If I don't see traffic rising over that 90-day period, I'll kill it. I will end it right there, and we'll go a different route. But 90 days for optimization is typically what I go on.
And that's with digital.
That's what digital. That's
So
straight.
where is that? Like just
anything.
on Google?
That's
like,
going to
yeah.
be PPC ads, pay-per-click ads.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyone
okay.
that sees sponsored next to the little ad
Yeah.
that's up top. Any paid, they may even be paid social ads at that
Yeah.
point that
Yeah.
a consumer wanted. If I don't see an uptick within 90 days, then
Okay.
Cut it.
I cut it,
Yeah.
and we go a different route.
Liz, and then we'll open it up for questions.
I'll talk more about branding, when to pivot. So let's just say that you're a 50-year-old company and you've had the same logo and the same brand for however many years, and it's time for you to change your business model or your services, or it's just gotten stale and doesn't fit the needs for you anymore, then it might be time to pivot on a whole new brand strategy. Not just digital, not just your website. It could be a whole new logo. And that takes a whole lot of time and effort and extra budgets to do, but it could be time that your brand is stale and you need to achieve your objectives in a different way and rebrand the company.
Okay, I smell bell peppers and onions. So we're now going to open it up for questions, and then we got hands. We got hands back.
We like hands.
I can't see them because I don't have my glasses
I
on.
love
but-
when you said 50-year-old company, I was like, and it's so funny because now the young kids, they want like that.
Hi,
50-year-old
my name
guy.
is Serena, and I'm very excited to actually listening to the panel talking about social media because I use AI on a daily basis. I own an AI media agency. So I would like to hear your take on how to leverage AI in the marketing effort to save time and how to do it strategically and ethically.
That was actually the next question I had, so I'm glad you asked it. AI.
I can talk about
Yeah,
AI.
I was gonna
if
say,
that's
I'll have to
okay.
be out of that one.
Great question. I use AI in pretty much everything. It streamlines my day-to-day. So the biggest thing that I use it for, the pop-ups on websites that you talked about. Hey, how can I help you today? Number one thing I use it for. That is the biggest consumer driver that I have in terms of AI, because they'll actually follow through with a full chat, and then all I get is the customer information, and I already know what they need. So I'm not, it's essentially a free tool. I didn't pay for that to be on my website, other than maybe the monthly maintenance fee that it costs to be there. I also utilize AI a lot to create ads. AI if you put in your demographics for your consumer, will actually create your ads for you that go based off of something as simple as colors down to the age and gender of who you're attempting to target.
That's very cool.
So we're using AI in a number of ways, but I will caution you, it can be great at crafting content. It can be great at generating graphics and advertising and images, but you can't just launch it.
Correct.
You've got to edit it. We joke that AI loves hyphens and semicolons
Very
and
much.
periods. It likes to use the word whilst, which I don't know if any of you use the word whilst, but it has certain things that as it's learning, it's not necessarily the best marketing tool. We joke about AI generated images where you say, oh, at least he only has 5 fingers. AI is good at generating, but not necessarily the best. We do a lot of energy work, and if you ask AI to generate a bull running in the Permian Basin, it might have snow-covered mountains in the background. So AI is great for chat and everything, but and it's moving a lot. But please be careful about it before
How
you
you use it.
before you use it.
Any comments on AI?
No.
Okay.
I've never used it.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Colton Slaughter. I own an I'm a solo operator right now. I've only been in business for 5 months. How important is it to maintain a area that you are comfortable with working versus just trying to take every job that can come in as far as the target? And then also to piggyback off of that, how important is voice search nowadays as that's becoming more popular, like using Siri or Cortana or Alexa to look up companies in your area?
Great question.
I hope that everyone looks at me. Okay. I'm going to give you one piece of advice because when we first started the HVAC and electric company, we were like, we want everywhere. Terrible idea.
Yeah.
Own your backyard first. That's going to come into play of get to know your chamber. Come to all of your chamber meetings because you're also going to meet a bunch of other people who are going to want to refer you. Go to the networking events. Own your backyard. You want all of your neighbors to do nothing but refer you and then grow out from there as needed once you hit your peak.
Great.
I agree with that.
Okay.
And it could even mean not just, if you can't own social channel, like you can't own Facebook or Instagram, it's better not to be on it than to be on it but non-existent. It might be better for you to do, say, outdoor. It might be better for you to wrap your vehicle if you're in the HVAC business. But be consistent with whatever channels you use.
It's good to hear old school marketing, wrapping a vehicle with
Wrapping a vehicle,
billboards,
yes.
And
Wrapping
I
a
will
vehicle
go-
is very important.
flyers.
I will
you
go
know?
off the Siri. I don't know anybody that doesn't use Siri as much anymore. Even the older clientele, my father-in-law uses Siri to text, so a lot of it says "send Amy" on every text. So yeah, I think now, do I know about setting it up and how to get on Google? That's probably more their speed, but that's awesome. That I would say that's very important because most people are driving and think about it. That's where I do my best thinking. So if I need to Google something, I always say, Siri, look up tire shop near me or coffee near. It's always coffee usually.
Yes.
Coffee near me while I'm in Dallas. So that is like a cool concept. I never even actually thought about that, but pretty neat.
And this is our final question.
I have a comment and a question. Liz, your comment about LinkedIn, about being a little clunky, one element I would add to that is, so I run a nonprofit, and I have a board of directors and multiple advisory boards, so I love LinkedIn as a way to let those folks know what we're doing. It's a sort of, because they're not on those other services, they tend to be a little bit older, more professional, so it's just add that might be another use for that. And then my question is, For all the social media channels, if you have enough followers, you'll start to receive income from those services. Have you guys engaged with that? And if so, what's that experience been like?
So if you're a business and they follow you under a business, you have to be under an influencer to do that. So that it pretty much exits out businesses. So they kind of took us out that. So before they did the influencer, say if we had like 3-4 million on a video, we would normally get some kickback. But when they put you in under a business, that also restricts your sounds you can use, everything like that, and it kicks you out of that influencer and the fundings. So it pretty much just takes you out. And with that, like she was saying, the peak. So we could push even a little harder on social media, but we're self-funded, so we sell through our inventory so fast that we can't get bigger in the sense of we just need more inventory. So as we grow inventory, we are able to keep that 98, 99 sell through. So with that, we could push a little harder, but we haven't really, until we get to that point where our sell through drops, then we see that.
Any other comments? Okay. Well, thank you all. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause.